EFX Sports, and today I want to talk about strongman and nutrition. So there's a common misconception around the strongman community that all we do is just shove food in our face, we don't care about what we eat. Well, it's actually not true. A lot of the top athletes, including myself, we actually really kind of monitor what we eat pretty close as far as macros and the quality of food that we're putting in. So let's start off with the most important thing in strongman training, carbs. Some strongmen do keto diets. Some are successful, it's just how their body reacts, but a majority of strongmen, with the training we do, you need a lot of carbs. So my carbs come from oats, jasmine rice, carbolin, whole grain pasta, and I do eat cereal typically after a workout or on my super high carb days. Those are pretty much the only carbs I eat. Sometimes I'll switch it up and I'll do bagels because they're low in fat, or like pita bread things. And that's pretty much the carbs that I like to eat. People get in trouble when they start mixing bad fats and sugar carbs. You're not going to perform well eating stuff like that. So you need to really monitor the types of fats you're eating and the types of carbs you're eating. Let's move on to proteins. I take a lot of isolate powder. I drink it intra-workout and then post-workout. And then a majority of my protein that I get is actually chicken, mainly because it's super cheap where I live, and I'm pretty frugal when it comes to food. I don't spend probably more than $80 a week in food at the grocery store, if that. Red meat is a treat, but like I said, I don't really like to spend a ton of money on food because I eat for fuel. I don't eat for pleasure really anymore. Sometimes I'll switch it up and I'll do turkey, but pretty much any lean protein is the best protein. So, nothing high in fat. You don't really need a ton of pork. You don't need a ton of ribeyes and stuff like that, even though you'll see some strongmen doing that. I think a lot of the European strongmen, like up in the Scandinavian countries, do that type of stuff. And they also eat a lot of fried potatoes. And they also don't win a ton of contests. Damn! Just kidding. So, let's talk for a minute about fats. Fats are super important for recovery. It's typically, people think you need a ton of fats for recovery, but really the body, depending on how many carbs you're taking in, you don't need an excess amount of fats. I've found that anywhere from the range of 30 on a training day to upwards of around 90 is the sweet spot on an off day. Really no more than that. And then on like a typically really high carb day where I take in like 700 to 800 grams of carbs, I usually don't take in any fats. All my fats will come from, they're trace fats from carb sources, like how, a serving of this pasta has 1.5 grams of fat. That's the only fat I'll take in from that meal. Would be the fats that I get from my carb sources. And then I'll actually lower my protein intake since I'm not taking any new fats. Carbs are actually protein sparing when you're, not taking in any low thermogenic foods. So you really don't need a ton of protein either. It's just wasted. So everything in your body is being optimized. But a lot of my fats come from coconut oils, olive oils, almonds, any nuts. I don't really like to take in any bad fats. Typically, I really like olive oil. I put it on my rice on my meals the night before, and it keeps the rice super soft. And other than that, these are just some splurge things. Sorry, that's the timer going off right now for food. So I really love peppers, so I do jalapenos and I do some red peppers, and I love. So that's typically what I eat in a day, strongman wise. I like to keep the fats healthy. I like to keep the carbs and everything pretty clean for the most part, and the proteins, depending on the day, is determining what type of protein I'll take in. But other than that, it's really, there's this misconception with strongman that we just eat a bunch of junk food. And honestly, if you want your body to perform at optimal levels, you have to really fuel it properly. So I'm Terry Rady. I'm with Team EFX, and don't forget, stock up on your carbolin because it is obviously the most important thing I take. I am the king of carbolin and the king of carbs, as you can see. I eat a ton of carbs. So thanks for watching, guys. Tune in. More content coming. Thanks.